Morning. Great morning. Happy Thursday. What's going on, everyone? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing, getting ready here for our live stream together, looking to do what we do best, bring some clarity. We're going to be doing TA across the markets today. We're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, crypto, making sure we see where we are, what our mindset is from here, what type of clarity we could bring. Thank you for the wonderful wishes, for all the good wishes, for all your thoughts and prayers. I am certain that the only reason that the baby is so healthy is because of all of you, and I'm grateful for that. We go to the doctor again this morning. It's possible we stay at the hospital today. If that's the case, there'll be no live stream tomorrow, obviously. I will update you through all the channels. I'll update you in the Discord, on the YouTube community channel, and in the Telegram. If you're not getting the Telegram alerts, if you don't know every time that Heath goes live or posts a video, or myself, it's right over there in the description below. Make sure you're on that. Make sure you're on that. Couple of questions. We're gonna change up the flow here a little bit because there were some really good questions here this morning, right? Let's get into them, right? We're starting over here with Digital Smitty, or Smitty, excuse me. Good morning. Are we still treating GBTC the same as Bitcoin? We saw yesterday, Alan Au did some, or the day before yesterday, I retweeted it, did some beautiful work on GBTC, talking about the premium and the institutional investors, what it all means, the tokens that are unlocked, when they come unlocked, how that affects it, what that could do to affect spot Bitcoin's price. Now, when I say that I treat GBTC the same as Bitcoin, I mean that I positioned into GBTC ahead of the bull market on the technical break of the bull market, September 2020, and then looking, is that 19 or 20? 2020. September 2020, Bitcoin breaks out here to the bull market, and I'm holding it until the peak of the bull market. At the peak of the bull market, I exit GBTC. That's what I mean that I treat it the same as Bitcoin, holding for the duration of the bull market. That's that trade for myself. Nothing's changed from day one. That's how I laid it out, and that continues to be the same for myself. Now, what else are we talking about? Justin bringing the focus. Justin, always a step ahead, bringing the focus. What's next? We see that breakout of the symmetrical triangle that we were looking at, right? We saw the breakout. You can find it over on Twitter. What do we got over there? Just to line it up for myself. There you go, breakout. And then what happened? Do we have our eyes on 40,000? What's next? Where were we bringing it? If you pull up Brad's chart, right over here, this is on the 2-day, perfect. You can see, let me just zoom in a little bit. So far, this seems to be our prime trend line that we're basing this off of. Is it possible that we make a lower low from the $30,000 print? Absolutely. If that happens, does this line need to be readjusted? Absolutely. Now, listen, if you're waiting for confirmation, you have to wait until we come out of the mid-cycle pullback, until price makes a higher high, and then you could be like, okay, this is the line coming into the rest of the bull market phase. We're not trying to do that. We're trying to be as accurate as possible, as quick as possible. It's the same thing that the rational root is doing when he puts in that slope of the floor. It's this. Will it have to be readjusted? Yeah, if we take out 30,000, it'll be readjusted. Is this possibly the line over here going forward? Yep, it possibly is. You could see this line above this resistance where the body of the candles put some work in over here. That area was then tested back in July, right? Again, tested again in November and into December, right? And then provided on the bounce off of that spike down, that's around the area we came into. On the way up, do we expect that to be once we clear that area and just call it somewhere around, we'll try to look a little bit more precise when we go back to the charts in a moment, but somewhere around, that area $40,000 to $41,000, getting above there, that's going to open up the next phase over here. And there's a lot of space over here, by the way. There's a lot of space between 41,000 and then regaining, let's call it 56,000, 55,000, the area that we need to regain in order to have back that, like, the whole idea of possible accumulation phase happening, for that to be put on the back burner. It's a very low probability. I think Ted put it at somewhere like around 5%, whatever it is, I don't know. But anyway, looking good over here, Justin. Very good, bringing our focus where it should be. Let me just take a look really quick before we go any further. Let me take a look at what I think that area is. Probably horizontal trend line over there, right? The area we pulled out between 40,000 and 41,000. It's at 40,888, blah, 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 blah. $40,886 horizontal resistance right over there as well. Get above that. Now, careful. A lot of traders will be targeting that. A lot of traders are targeting that right now, last week's high, whether or not it's a clean break or there's some profit taking into that area. I don't know. We need to clear above that, whether that means that, maybe spiking into this area. You can see over here in February, that bit of support, then turn resistance on the spike up, getting above 43,000. Yeah, then it's clear. We're not clear, but that brings me, Justin, and everyone back to where we are. It's no different than it was yesterday, the day before, or all of last week. We are waiting for clarity. We are waiting for clarity. I'm going to just break it down even simpler. The possibility exists. Option B, it's the backup plan. We come back out and take out that low. If that happens, it does look like Wyckoff accumulation phase is ahead of us, and we could be entering a long accumulation period. I think that, that's going to end when we break out this trend line to the upside after that accumulate, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to be peaking into the top of the 4-year cycle. Or option A, that the low is put in already, that the low was put in last week at 30,000. We continue over here and we're waiting for the break of this line whenever that happens to say, okay, we got momentum back again, right? And then then those that are looking to trade, that's the time when you have momentum at your back. That's the time you could be looking for positions. Right now, what are you doing? Well, you're either dollar cost averaging in, you're either buying the dip with spot Bitcoin. I did 39,000 last week, or you're waiting. You're just waiting and waiting and waiting. That's tough for a lot of people. That's tough. I hope what happened over this last week taught people the importance of a few different things. Probably the two that stand out most in my head is that you have to change your time preference. You have to have that patience. You have to change your time preference. You have to be in this for the long run, right? Nothing has changed for the bullish case for Bitcoin. It only gets strengthening every single day as the central banks continue to do what they're doing, right? And then the other thing that people realized was, wait a second, I have to understand what leverage is. When Jordan says lightly leveraged and experts only, maybe there's a reason for that, right? Maybe I have to realize that, unleveraged Bitcoin is enough to do legendary things, right? Legendary things. Do you think it's easy to do legendary life-changing things? Or do you think that takes a lot of work, dedication, and calculation? You're in the right place. You're in the right place, and we're going to do it together, right? Our commodities tanking, another good one over here. We talked about last week or a few days ago, right, that China is actually trying to stop the rising commodity prices, that they're trying to strengthen the yuan, right? Are we seeing that taking place now in the commodity market? Perhaps we're watching that from afar, right? But aware of what is signal. When China, makes it known that they're taking a position, that's intervention that I don't want to stand in front of, right? We'll see what happens going forward. What about, boom, this is it, undefined. Great to be here to work with like-minded people. Beautiful. Setting the stage as we begin today. Let's get going. Let's get into it. Bitcoin trading at $39,164. I think it's the Miami crew, right? The sun is shining down in Miami. Bitcoin conference 2021, right? Last year was supposed to be, first it was supposed to be in San Francisco. 2019, and then 2020 was supposed to be in San Francisco. Then they changed that, delayed it to Los Angeles, and then because of the situation last year, it was never able to happen. Back down in Miami now, everyone feeling good in the sun. So much is taking place, right? By the way, this is all going to be, you're going to be able to, if you're not there right now, shout out to anyone in CTM that's there. Anyone in CTM that's down in Miami, go to find Jimmy Song and tell him, that we're with him, that we really appreciate all the work he's doing. Yeah. And listen, I wish I could be there. We're about to have a baby. Otherwise I would be there. I'd be meeting up with all of you, and it would be a lot of fun in the sun. The speakers are going to be great. It's fun. I remember watching Edward Snowden in the 2019 Bitcoin conference, San Francisco. Absolutely outstanding. Max Kaiser, when he takes the stage, some beautiful stuff, pumping up the crowd. Listen, it's all on you. You'll be able to find it on YouTube. If you go to bitcoinmagazine.com, you follow them on YouTube, you can catch what's going on over there. But Bitcoiners right now, what they're doing is working. You think they're out in the sun having fun, but what they're doing is setting up conferences for the next year all across the world. They're making sure that while everyone's together, they could focus and continue doing what they do best. All right, beautiful stuff over there. Beautiful stuff. Are they on the buy over here? Why they're having fun, bringing up the price? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. We're changing our prime frame, right? We're making sure that everyone gets the clarity they need to continue. Why I think we're in the mid-cycle dip over here, it doesn't matter. Only thing that matters is this trend line. It's the most important trend line in the market, right? Because whether or not we break above this sooner or later, when we break above it, that's when we got the momentum back. And this is just playing out on a larger scale. The TA that we use over here during the Bitcoin market, it's when Bitcoin enters the correction, it's that line of repair that shows that we're coming out of it, right? Could this be, a lot of people are looking for a longer consolidation. Yep, it could very well be. Either way, when that longer consolidation ends, it's going to be on the break of that trend line. Could this be more of what is a V-type pattern playing out over here and we recover quicker? Yep. Is there any reason to make any type of rash judgments ahead of time? Nope. Things got unclear, right? That famous day, May the 14th. I don't know what's going on. It doesn't make sense. I'm getting neutral, followed by an enormous dump. I didn't see the dump coming. I didn't see it coming at all. There's no way I was predicting it. I didn't think that we would even break 38,000. That was a 41% drawdown from the all-time high. In hindsight, it's a lot easier being like, oh my gosh, of course. We are so far in this cycle, an average of the first cycle and an average of the second cycle. By first cycle, I mean the 2012 cycle. By second cycle, I mean the 2016, right? We've been averaging at the both. Does it make sense that the average gain to the upside is an average of the two? Yep. Well, does it make sense that we consolidate an average of the two? Well, that makes sense as well. What about the downside? The institutions are here, Jordan. Bear market, we're not going to have less than a 60% drawdown in the bear market. The institutions are here. By the way, I did, out of all of your suggestions, start watching on Preston's podcast, Adam Back and Plan B discussing the markets. Both of them, for whatever that's worth to you, are under the impression that as Bitcoin becomes a $5 trillion and a $10 trillion, that volatility is not going away. That volatility is not going away. Now you have other people, got to follow those, by the way, who have a history of being right. Other people talking about, in the bear market, we're probably only going to see a 60% drawdown. There's probably going to be following more of commodities, getting your market. Anyway, that doesn't all matter. Does it make sense that the drawdown to the downside was an average of the drawdown over here, 70%, the drawdown over here, 40%, almost a dead average? Well, yeah, in hindsight, that makes sense. I didn't see that coming. I'm not even close. Ethereum over here outperforming Bitcoin today, continues to lead the way. Ian over here bringing the chart, bringing the fire, bringing the clarity, sending this out for everyone, right? You can make sure you're following Ian on Twitter. Make sure you're following him. Ian over here is pointing out and showing us the map over here. You got Bitcoin in blue, this current cycle, and Ethereum in red. You notice that they continue to be in lockstep. Whenever Bitcoin comes down, Ethereum's coming down with it. When Bitcoin bottoms, Ethereum's also bottomed. The difference is that Ethereum continues to lead the way. It's a different cycle than it was. You can see over here in orange, the previous cycle, and in green, Ethereum, the previous cycle, Bitcoin in orange. And prior to that, they weren't in lockstep. Ethereum would peak before Bitcoin, right? And then, over and over again. This time, they're almost in unison with Ethereum outperforming. We're watching to see if that continues. We're watching to see over here if this time Ethereum actually makes, this is Ethereum versus Bitcoin over here in red, the shadow over here. I'm watching to see whether or not we see Ethereum make a higher high. That didn't happen the previous cycle. We went through this multi-month, once the first alt season peaked, we went through this multi-month where Bitcoin outperformed. Now, in this first wave, Ethereum performed well. The second wave is when Ethereum went sideways consolidating, right? And Bitcoin really made a big move against not only Ethereum versus all altcoins. So we will be watching what happens as we get over there. Right now, though, just an observation, they continue to be in lockstep with Ethereum outperforming. Does Ethereum make a higher high over here? It was interesting. We'll be watching. I'll be watching. I'm very interested over there. Let's get into the markets. We're seeing the equity markets coming off a little bit this morning. What is that all about? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We go to the doctor this morning together. Whether or not we stay there, I'll update you all as soon as possible. It looks, if today is not the day and she doesn't go into labor tomorrow, they're admitting us Saturday morning. So we're at it, trying to time these things, right? Someone made the comment about trying to time Bitcoin, trying to time babies. It takes patience. It takes patience, right? Jordan, we have to be open-minded. There was also could be a large head and shoulders in place, right? Yeah, there's no question about that, right? Now, I was looking at this in real time, and for me, it wasn't a head and shoulders, right? Because I'm like, yeah, two left shoulders, a head, a right shoulder. I mean, my TA, man, I don't know where that comes from. So I'm starting researching. I couldn't find any indications of like a double shoulder, but that's why I always say forget about head and shoulders. Always follow the trend line. Always follow the trend line. But if this was, and I've seen some artists out there saying that this is the left shoulder, this is the head and the right shoulder. I mean, clearly to me, and we've pointed out the Wyckoff distribution pattern. It's textbook. It was textbook. There's no question about that, which is why I'm saying, well, what happens? The possibility option B, if we come in to make the lower low, then we're seeing the accumulation play out. That's important to understand and know, mostly for the mind, to know that if you're going to be in some type of prolonged monthly accumulation. That I want to know that. I want to be prepared for that mentally. At the end of the day, it's only the trend line break that's going to matter either way. But I want to be prepared mentally, and that's the base case that I'm following. I think that's what's important over there. Peter, the month of the Sacred Heart. June over here, beautiful. Lots of love to you, my brother. All right, so where does that bring us? I'm watching and I'm seeing, equity markets getting a little squirrely. Tomorrow is non-farm payrolls, right? Is that print going to be something the market's worried about? It's, starting last month, or was it the month before? I said, watch. Now as the market's going to start paying more and more importance to the non-farm payrolls to see whether or not those jobs are coming back right now. We'll see. I think the print we're expected is 600,000. Listen, all I care about is what the print is and how the market reacts, because we're not trying to trade that as an event. If you're trying to trade the event, figuring like, is it going to be a miss or a beat, and how should I position? That's rookie 101. You're going to get whipsawed and your hand handed to you. You're going to get hurt. No question about that. But I'm interested in the larger picture. I'm interested to see what the market's focused in on and how the market's reacting. We got a lot of beautiful people in here today. I'm so grateful to be sharing this time with you. Thank you, CTM. Thank you for making this such a beautiful experience to share together. Let's make sure that we continue to stay focused. And not only that, in this moment here, we're waiting for further clarity. Get off the 8 hour. Come up to the daily now. Come up to the 3-day, right? Go on to log. We're waiting for that clarity, right? So we could work on our game. We could brushing up our skill set. That's what we're gonna do across all markets over there. Thank you, Gino. Yeah, I'm holding my GBTC to the end of the bull market. When I exit Bitcoin, I will exit my GBTC. That's it. Boom. And I don't even pull up a chart of GBTC. I don't even care. I don't care what the premium is today. I don't even care what the premium is when I sell. I'm at the peak of the Bitcoin bull market. I'm selling my GBTC. That has been the same since I first entered the trade. What happens if Ethereum dominance is greater than Bitcoin, right? What you're saying? What happens if there's a flippening? right? And Ethereum overtakes the price of Bitcoin. We looked at that twice. And it's funny, we looked at that with Ian and Ted in the CTM training session 2 or 3 weeks ago. Amazing session talking about the modeling. And we talked about that from the perspective of a Bitcoiners, right? I don't mean to label anyone. I mean, I consider myself a Bitcoiner. And, we kind of see, we kind of see the possibility and what would happen and what that would look like and how we'll know over the next, few months if we could see actually Ethereum overtaking Bitcoin's market cap. And then we looked at it from the perspective of yesterday in the CTM training session of Brandon from Crypto Trades and Tech, someone who's also a Bitcoiner, but someone who's really involved in the altcoin market. And it's funny because, he had the opposing view, doesn't foresee that happening and explains why. That was a great session with Brandon. I think over the weekend, we'll just upload that to everyone across the internet so everyone could get a little bit more familiar with Brandon and his work and, CTM supporting each other like that. It's good stuff over there. So you can pay attention to what Brandon says over there. He makes the case of why it's going to happen. It also makes sense, but we don't know yet. There we go. Dan, all of a sudden, you notice that the whole internet is looking for Wyckoff patterns across every asset and on 1 hour time frames. When you're looking at institutions making this pattern develop, they're doing it on a much higher time frame, right? They're going through distribution in order to get to accumulate, right? To bring it back up, right? It's not happening on the 1 hour. Right? It's not happening across all markets right now, but I think you're probably, Don, I don't know. I guess you're probably making fun of everyone seeing it across all time frames across all markets right now, right? Well, I'm just using that comment you had to just reinforce to everyone, right? Because you saw this pattern take place so far on Bitcoin, and I'm obviously still under the impression, because option B is we go to accumulation. I'm still under the impression that was just coincidence and not a Wyckoff distribution pattern. And I consulted the experts. They say that if we recover out of this without going into accumulation, that it was not. Now, I know a lot of people, right? A lot of people are not going to be comfortable with that because they just want what they believe to be right, right? That's all they're concerned with. That's a tough position to be in if you're an investor. That's a really tough position to be in if you're an investor. I think the best standpoint you could have right now is the one that I have. Be aware we could enter into an accumulation phase. Don't get all of a sudden so comfortable over here because you see Bitcoin like higher than it was yesterday and get the FOMO. It's still very unclear. We have to even take out that swing high that Justin brought our attention to, right? Getting above 43,000, we put it out, really. You got the support over here, touched into resistance after the spike down. It's an important level. Get above there, and then we're targeting the resistance over here. And odds are we don't break it the first try. Odds are that we don't break it. We could also, and I pointed out very early on, we could come as high as this 53,000, 54, and be rejected and still come back down. All right. So right now is the time simply to be waiting for that clarity, to be patient. And if the long-term bullish case for Bitcoin, it's only way stronger than it was yesterday and the day before. And every 10 minutes, a new block is confirmed. If your dollar cost are averaging in, or if you're buying the dip, I know that I am. I know that I did. So it's not bad at all. It's fantastic. It just wasn't a Wyckoff distribution pattern. That's not how that works. You could spend your time and just, it was in the video I did last week explaining through two different experts who are why they love it. And they're saying that's not how it works. It's up to you whether you want to believe that or not. It doesn't really matter. No, I think that people give up market makers. Tough job, market maker. Man, I think people give them. I never knew a market maker who was wealthy. Never knew one who was wealthy. Those guys are grinders. It's tough job out there. People give institutions and market makers a lot more credit than they deserve, right? Institutions are making money, right? How do they make money? They're making money through fees from their clients. They're making money by trading against their clients, and they're making money by front running their clients. That's how institutions make money. Institutions really have a tough time outperforming the market. They're not very good at it. People give them a lot more credit than they deserve. If you want to give people credit, go back to those giants ahead of us and follow the ones who have been right and on the right side over and over again. That's what I do. All right, let me take a look here at the S&P 500. I'm on the log scale. Let me get off the log scale. I'm on the 8-hour time frame. I want to start on the daily, get that bigger view, see what's going on over here. So a lot of people are very, very bearish on the markets right now. Really? Let me come down to the 8-hour. I think I want to clone this trend line over here. This is an important trend line. Remember, as price was really sailing down before it came into here, we touched these two lines of resistance. We drew in this trend line and extended it out. It wound up holding and then being tested again. I would say it's a very important trend line, right? We know that if we break down here to the downside, all of a sudden the market's falling apart. If I bring it up here, right? Could everyone see this? Do you see this touch over here? This touch over here? Again, another touch, right? It didn't really do much in this area, but then when we came above, it touched again. And not only that, again over here, I would say connection's lost on the mouse. Hold on one second, everyone. I'm going to have to talk you through this for a couple of minutes here. Maybe plug in that mouse for 1 second, get the juice back over here. And if I go where my mouse is right now on the 24th of May, you can see it touched again right there. So cloning that trend line and bringing it up to where we are right now, that's a nice little edge for us. We don't have to wait for price to drop all the way down to that lower trend line to say, the market at this point is breaking down, and now we're going from this really bullish structure we have, and things are getting a little iffy. We have this upper trend line over here right now, right? And if we break down below it, we can see the market has paid attention to it more than a few different times. It's an important level. If we break down from this level, could we expect that we're coming down and going to test the other line below it? Yeah, I think this line over here at this point is a much better place for us to be focusing on in the near term to see what happens. All right. So, and that's where we are, right? We're going to keep this line in here. Getting below that, we could see some further pressure. I want to have an idea, whether that's 1%, 2%. That's a big difference over there on the S&P. So we'll be focused in on that. What about the Nasdaq? So we had trouble breaking above this resistance. We're actually breaking down right now, right? Again, nothing's changed. We're in this range. We're in the range between the support over here, 13,430, and the resistance above it that we could not get above, right? You can see the couple of spikes above. It never held. We're going to keep this resistance line in there. It's an important one, right? And right now we're just kind of in no man's land. The structure is very bullish. Obviously, even if you look at this, this comes down to a daily time frame. Price is consolidating right around the all-time high, right? Technically, it's very bullish, but we're consolidating. Does it make sense we're consolidating ahead of non-farm payrolls tomorrow? Yeah, okay. Does it make sense that a little bit of profit was taken after we couldn't break above the resistance, right? Yep, especially after breaking down over here, that line over here down here. Of course, that sets off a bunch of stops, right? But you're still in no man's land with the bullish structure. We have the Federal Reserve meeting in 2 weeks. That's an important event for the markets. What's the date on it? Let's make sure that we understand. It's Wednesday, June the 16th. Okay? We're about, we have about 10 more trading sessions ahead of it, right? That's a big deal with the Fed signals over here or doesn't. If we come away from this meeting without the Fed signaling that they're going to signal something, whether that's in Jackson Hole in August, then the market over here should have less headwinds. I see the people being defensive right now. Is there any risk coming into the market? Right? We're not seeing it at this moment. We're not seeing risk coming into the market, but we want to be aware. We want to take a look at actually the Japanese yen, which I see mixed signals. I see on a few different pairs coming into resistance, and I feel, I see it also, the pound continue to breaking out versus the yen. We'll take a look at that. We'll see if it can make any sense. So is Wyckoff, I don't know. It doesn't even matter. Everyone, people are saying this and calling this right now occurring on the Nasdaq, right? And look, I don't pay attention. Is the structure there? I think so. You know, people can make the case for it, and it could be happening. Should you be following it from afar? And out of any other instrument, I could see it. I could see it potentially on the Nasdaq. You know, I think it's a very poor way to trade. A very, very, very poor way to trade. I would not be trying to make a living off of trading Wyckoff accumulation and distribution patterns, or even close to it. But either which way, let's take a look at the DXY over here. Look at that. We have a breakout. We have a break. You see yesterday, once we broke ahead of this line, we've cloned the line over to this touch and this touch. And we said, watch out to see whether or not this holds. Let me come down to a small time frame just to see what happened. We came in there third time and then backed off over there and now breaking above it. It's a clean break. So what does this mean, right? What I want to see how gold and silver are reacting with the dollar breaking out over here. But it looks like the support held now, right? I've been saying as we were coming down, watch what happens when we break above this line. The sell side pressure is alleviating, right? And now we're having confirmation of that this session. What's next? You know, well, it's safe to say, or it looks like the support over here is holding for now, right? Is it possible that, you know, by the end of this session that we have a long wick over here and back under? It's possible. If that happens, we'll check it out tomorrow, right? I'm looking what happens next as far as, you know, are we back in no man's land? When I say no man's land, you know, we have this resistance, the trend line channel resistance. That's like going back 12 years. And this horizontal resistance. So we got a confluence of resistance up in this area, right? And we got this strong support now. I say strong because it's the 12-month low, the yearly low, and it's been tested twice now, right? Since it was put in, it's been tested twice. This level's holding, and it remains. If this level breaks, again, that's probably at this point, if this breaks, the 8840 is probably not going to hold. Now we could come back down into it, bounce off of it for the retest and the resumption. But, you know, if we break this battle's being fought over here. And if we break down over here, watch out, you know, I expect a waterfall. But we're back into no man's land in this range. And you could see the dollar has been sideways all year so far in this range over here, right? So the sell side pressure has been alleviated for now, right? Not expecting a test or a break of the 89.40 support. And it's a question of, you know, whether or not we go, you know, sideways in a tight range, or are we able to come back up and test this resistance right now. Sell side pressure has alleviated. Gold and silver getting smacked down on it, right? And coming into this important level over there, breaking down over here, breaking this trend line on gold, right? At that point, I think it's time to protect any profits you have. Get back on the sidelines and wait. Same thing with silver. You know, here it is right now, right? Silver entries over here, breaking down. Personally, I would be looking at taking profit, right? And getting on the sidelines, and you could just wait and get back in. You could see how price reacts into the next support. A resumption off that support, that opens up a new entry. But right over here, as the dollar is breaking out of that sell side channel, that pressure is alleviating. Gold and silver breaking down of their trend lines. Getting neutral over here is a good thing. Look over here at silver. I'm going to put this line over here, resistance in this area, right? What is the market paying attention to? The first thing that I'm attracted to was this peak over here. I see that also is around where the body's closed, and then this peak over there. But I want to bring that down over here to where the market's really paying attention to, in this area around 28.25. And you can see then, look, that's a lot better of an, and then look. So I like that. I'm going to go ahead and just add a line of resistance over there, because getting back, it's good to take profits. I'm going to keep it at 28.25. It's good to take profits over here on the break of the trend line, right? But claiming this area and then retest and resumption off of it, well, that's a good place to get long again. You could get long above here if the market's able to get back above here, or you could try to get long down over here, right? But over here on the break of the trend line, I think now is time to take profits. It's a good trade, right? Obviously, we wanted it to push and go further. It's a good trade, you know, and you know, wait right now and wait for it to see whether or not this is like a false fakie, come back up and finally break above this resistance, which is good resistance over here, you know, and multi-month, going back to September, break above that level, it opens up the further upside, or if price trends down and holds an area of support, you know, whether it's 25.75 or even lower, 24, if holding 24.35 in that area, that's still a bullish structure in place. Breaking down below there, then it could get a sketchy. So right now, you know, that's where it is. I don't really want to do the same thing with gold. I'm trying to get rid of that line 1 second. I don't want to do the same thing with gold, but you see the gold, the trend line break over there. Same premise. It's time to get on the side. And wait 1 second. I'm trying to see right now, you know, the resist. Look at that. Look where we peaked into resistance, right? Look, I'm focused right first on that same area over here in August, right? And then how that became resistance. Same thing. Getting above there at that point, you could say, all right, let me look for longs. That this exit here was premature. Market's holding. Let me get above. All right, so we have our levels over there. Good stuff over there. You know, risk adverse is fire. Protect that capital. No question about that. Small gains is good gains. You know, when I say small gains, thank you for the moderators. Absolutely. Thank you, Peter, Miguel, and everyone else who just continues to shine. Tom, helping CTM have that positive foundation that it does. Yeah, you guys are essential to what this community is, and I'm grateful for it. Really grateful for it. So what else? All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going and see what's going on in the markets over here. All right. 10-year I wanted to check in before we move any forward. Look at this. Look at this, right? Coming up to we're in a bull flag over here, coming into the resistance of the bull flag right now, right? Getting above here, man, this thing could shoot out to the upside. We'll continue to watch that. That's something to watch out. I think the question came up, could yields continue to rise? Oh, is that going to help put a floor in the dollar, right? If we're seeing that massive devaluation of the purchase powering of the dollar, right? But are we going to be able to see the dollar hold its current levels and continue to trade sideways if yields rise? You know, and all it made me do is think about this amazing high wire act that the Federal Reserve is doing, right? They're keeping it all together. They got so many moving pieces that if they lose one, the whole system could really break. And how they're able to do it, they know exactly what they're doing. Everyone says they have no idea what they're doing because they're always wrong. They know exactly what they're doing, and they're masterful at it. All right? So anyway, when they want it to break, it breaks. That's for sure. When they want it to break, it breaks. Let's take a look at what's going on in FX, right? First thing I'm going to do is look at the percentage of, we got some big moves. Look at the move the dollar's making, 1% versus the New Zealand dollar. So what about, again, almost a 1% versus the Australian dollar. As the dollar is breaking that trend line, you're seeing the dollar put in some big moves. Now I want to focus on the pound because the pound's been the strongest all year ever since the Brexit, right? So the pound over here, why down versus the dollar, is holding up pretty strong, right? And the euro is between the both of them. Again, the euro's been moderately strong, moderate compared to the commodity currencies today. All right, look at the pound US dollar. We have this little roadmap over here, this channel, this rising channel that we're in. A breakdown outside of this channel, right? Then we're looking at the support as the next area. Is this something? It's a tight range though. Let me come over to the 8-hour, right? Fed is spinning plates. Fed is on a high wire spinning plates. You know, not just with their fingers, with their nose and one of their feet, one of their foots. One of the foots, you know, man, you know, the Spanish and the English, they're just mixing right now. It's a good thing I didn't say fingers referring to my toes because that's how we do it here in Mexico. All right, what's going on? Boom, 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 boom. What's going on? We must have 800 people in here today. 1,300 people, 462 likes. It's a little light. Let's see what happens the rest of this session, right? If we're getting the breakout in Forex dollar, we need the retest and resumption. Good, Greg, bring in the focus. So listen, don't confuse with what goes on in crypto with FX, and by FX, every other market there is. Crypto during the bull market is the only exception that you can take breakouts, and you should, in my opinion, take them. I do. It's the breakout in crypto. Very rarely do you get the retest and resumption. All other markets, it's the exact reverse. You never take the breakout. Sometimes you get a breakout or a breakdown, and it gets away from you. It's about 5% of the time. A lot of people focus on those 5% of the time, and they have that FOMO. It's like you can't let 5% get away from you, right? But more often than not, the high probability trade is waiting for that retest and resumption. I talked about the possibility of seeing, well, it's extended out further right now, coming into, look at that not strong, but look at the resistance right over there at 90.42. When I say look at the resistance, it starts here, but look, right again over here, that touch right over there, and then all the way back over to here. I'm not even going back any further. If I do, is that level still in play? Again over there, and then again over here, and again, my goodness, Jordan, would you draw a line of resistance? Because I'll tell you why in 1 second, right? So I'm drawing the line of resistance because we had the breakout over here. It's quite possible that this momentum continues, and on the retest doesn't have to come back down into this line. The retest could come down like this, so that's why it's important to draw that resistance over here. We'll be watching for it. But Greg, absolutely, thank you for bringing our focus where it belongs here this morning. Let's see what's going on within mind as we begin looking at what we're seeing develop here, specifically on the dollar. I want to see how the Japanese yen is playing in relation to all this, right? How it's acting versus the dollar and then versus other pairs as well. But the important thing here is that tomorrow is Friday and tomorrow is non-farm payrolls. If you're trading FX and you're noticing a shift occur as it occurs, definitely have the perspective that you are not looking to act on this until next week, right? First of all, Greg really, really framing that perfectly, looking for that retest. So you're not chasing momentum today, right? And you're not entering before a squirrely event tomorrow where there could be a lot of whipsawing and shakeouts and volatility, not farm payroll tomorrow, as well as tomorrow then, by New York, you wouldn't enter anyway. So you are not looking to enter a trade, until next week. And by the way, not a good idea to open, trading on Monday is a tough one. Markets pricing in a lot of weekend data, catching up because they're closed over the weekend. Most of the time I prefer standing inside Monday morning in London, seeing what's going on, getting the bearings for Tuesday and looking for those setups for Tuesday morning in London. Let's see what happens as we come into that resistance here this morning. Again, we don't know what's going to happen. We could see a long wick, a rejection over here. We could see gold and silver actually holding those trend lines, or we could just see a big push of further momentum, and then we'll take a look. All right. The markets are not crashing. No, the markets are not crashing. Bullish structure, right? Again, putting in this line over here. Watch for the breakdown over there. If we have a breakdown, there's a lot of room over here, 2%. 2%. Getting below this trend line over here on the S&P 500, at that point, the bullish structure is gone. I want an idea of the all-time high. It's only 3.8%. By the way, a normal correction in the S&P 500, 8-9%. We got some nice, decent support down in that area as well, right? People were earlier in the year when I was talking about, as the markets were continuing their run up, and I was like, well, they don't become attractive until we have some type of correction. People thought corrections don't exist anymore. We just saw that happening in the cryptocurrency markets as well. I think it's a rude wake-up call. We'll continue to be watching, but no, the markets are not crashing. Could this be the top over here? You know what's funny is that you have a certain subset of the financial markets that are just calling a top all the time, right? A great indication of that is Sven from North whatever trading, right? Sven is calling every week a market top. And then you have people who when the market top comes in, they're like, oh, look, he was right. Look, it happened, The markets are not crashing. Let's go ahead to some head snack over here. I'm gonna drop some beat right now. Gonna play some head snack, take a sip of water, and come back in for a strong focus on FX. Oh, we don't got volume. There we go.
Markets, analyzing the charts, hitting projected targets within the margin. Find the flow, sip the matcha, and wait for the waves to come in with lobsters. The kind-hearted Jordan Fosters, working smarter, not harder to move the markers. On his way to conquer, trading and investing, drinking the coffee while reflecting on the blessing. The markets are not crashing. The prices might be slashing just to pretend they're in fashion. Hit the like button, comment, and smash it. Boom, boom, Jordan in the room. Grab the bull by the horns and to the moon. Flow from the plateau, make the play. Boom, boom, it's a taco day.
It's a taco day. It's a taco day.
Wow. Listen, something came up over there that I wanted to highlight. There we go. Can you tell us about Mexico? Yeah, the people are beautiful and the food is delicious. The people are beautiful and the food is the food is delicious. Love me some tacos. All right, let's keep going over here. What else are we looking at? Nasdaq continuing to decline over here. Someone said that we're seeing the dollar is something to do with geopolitical tensions. I have no idea. I don't know what's going on. I don't follow the news. I definitely follow the financial world and news, and I seem to get a much better perspective of what's going on in the world doing that than I do following like the local news programming. So I don't know what's going on. I'll find out later. I'm more interested in what the price of the markets is doing. I'm able to get my bearings following price, knowing how from what I see going on, all the market is doing over here is kind of squaring up before tomorrow's non-farm payroll. If it's something else, we'll find out. All right. Listen, we're talking about markets here though, not Mexico. And let's get into it and let's see what's going on. Let me see what's going on in the FX because this is a big day. When I say it's a big day, we're definitely seeing a big possible trend change taking place on the dollar. How is that affecting all dollar pairs? Why it's happening? Well, we had that trend line break, right? We were watching the momentum of that soft dollar coming into support, and we said if we break outside that trend line, that would be the indication that this selling is alleviating, right? And we had the trend line over here, this inner trend line, right? And then after that peak down over there, we drew in that outer trend line just yesterday, right? And we said, okay, well, now we have that outer confirmation. We're breaking into it. Greg say, hey, wait a second. You got to wait for that retest. No FOMO yet. Let's see how that's setting up. Let's look at the US dollar, Japanese yen first, right? Dollar gaining versus the yen over here, pretty strong, coming into an area of resistance. So we saw in the DXY, right? We see the DXY coming into that horizontal resistance. We can see over here the US dollar, Japanese yen also coming into this trend line resistance around the same area. All right. So if the dollar breaks above that resistance, retest, resumption, would the US dollar, Japanese yen be doing something similar? Is this something that we want to focus on now going forward? Yeah, possibly, right? Would I have taken this? No, this is sideways, right? For me, this is sideways. I really want to avoid sideways price action. Breaking above this trend line, it's something new in the market, right? By the way, do you see this peak and this peak? I just wonder, and you gotta take risks. You gotta explore. You gotta always be looking like with that, let's say, this attitude of like wonder, trying to see what's out there, right? So like I'm just cloning that to see if those two lines hit a little bit, right? A little bit. I'm not gonna really focus in on it though. Well, if the market pays attention to it up here, we'll focus in on it. What's next? US dollar, Japanese yen. All as I'm noting is as the dollar on the DXY is coming into horizontal resistance, this is coming into some trend line resistance up here on the upside. Okay, so what's next? Let's take out the euro US dollar. Let's take a look. Let me start from the top. Australian dollar, US dollar. So look at this. You can see this where this line of support is over here, breaking down towards the lower end. We've spiked over here a couple of times in the past. And again, we have that horizontal resistance that DXY is coming into. You can see some horizontal resistance in this area as well, right? Here, this is cleaner. Let's do this. Where am I right and where am I wrong? Where am I right and where am I wrong? So I'm trying to like, you know, well, it's close to where we are right now. It's close to where we are right now. But I was not focused over here. I was focused over here as I'm drawing that line in, right? And getting below that, does that then open up the downside, right? Yeah, you can see that playing out next week, where next week we might have like a bunch of green flags, a bunch of waves coming in, an opportunity, and then discern which is the best one. But really, I still see this huge sideways price action. Price has not gone anywhere in 6 months, right? And could this be the time where we're seeing, you know, consolidation turn into expansion? Maybe. Should I buy Bitcoin right now? My time preference, Jordan, is so high that I need to know right now in this second, should I buy Bitcoin? I'm buying the dip, you know, but I mean, man, if you're asking someone, should you buy any type of asset and you're doing that on the internet, I sincerely don't think that you should. I sincerely do not think that you should. You know, you should not buy or sell something unless you have the clarity that not only do you know that you have some type of signal to do so, or some type of plan and strategy that you're following, right? For me, you know, bull market, didn't plan on buying any more Bitcoin. I see Bitcoin come off 53%. Yeah, that's an opportunity. I'm gonna go ahead and jump in and take advantage of that. You know, but not more importantly than knowing when to buy and sell. You have to know how to manage your risk. That first of all includes how you position your trade, your position sizing. That's more important than buying or selling, right? And then you have to know how much you're risking. So you need to know where your stop loss is, right? What percentage of your account are you risking on that trade? Where's my stop loss, right? And, you know, what am I looking to gain on this trade? But forget buying and selling. Those things are what are fundamental, and you have to focus on those things first. All right. So what else? We see this coming down into support. It's what we're painting in the picture that I'm seeing over here is the dollar is breaking out of that strong downtrend, but coming into an area of resistance. So that resistance here is flipped on the Australian dollar. That's coming into support. So yeah, no, I mean, we're seeing the potential for a possible move coming up, but it's not there yet. If it happens, it'll be very clear to say that as it happened, we saw it coming and then we're able to act on it. Next week is shaping up to be quite a nice week or busy week in FX. We'll see. Euro Australian dollar, Euro US dollar. I want to take a look at all dollar pairs. What do you see when you look at this, right? When I see this, I mean, really what I see is a big V, right? That's the clearest thing that I see. I see, again, price has not gone anywhere in 6 months, back where it was. There's a big range in here, though, right? I mean, this is some tradable stuff over there. You know, I don't really see much else. And, you know, this just says to me why there seems to be a little bit more clarity on the pound US dollar. I could see this channel and it's very clear and it's very easy. On the Australian dollar US dollar, I could see that strong line of support over here. I'm sorry, I have this as resistance. It's throwing me off. You know, your brain just takes everything in on a different level and is able to. There you go. I see we're into support. That's, you know, breaking down. Then open. But the Euro US dollar doesn't seem so clear to me. So that's not something I'm going to focus in on until it becomes clear. For me. All right. So what about the New Zealand dollar, US dollar? I see that that's down. The weakness here is apparent. Yeah, I have that same support line that I have on the Australian dollar, US dollar. And again, it's getting below that would open up some downside. Right now, we continue to be, look how long I've stayed out of this consolidation. Look how long I've stayed out of this consolidation. Just like not interesting. And now, or potentially is it going to get interesting? Potentially, but not yet. We're just coming down to the support. You know, is there anything else we want to check out as far as US dollar pairs? Not myself. I want to take a look at some yen pairs, right? So this is one of the things that I saw this morning, and it was Plan B talking with Adam and Preston, and he's saying, listen, yeah, you got to change your time preference, and that's key right there. I think everyone should listen to that podcast. Absolutely essential. Absolutely essential. The mindset that comes along, should I buy, gets rocked with volatility. They're talking about the volatility, Steve, as it's happening. It's a great podcast. I'm just getting into it now, but I do recommend it. I mean, Adam, don't forget, he's one of the guys that was sourced in Satoshi's white paper. All right, what else are we looking at over here? I want to take a look at what's going on in the Japanese yen. So I noticed that on against the dollar, the yen is coming up into an area of possible resistance, right? What about the Australian dollar, US dollar, right? So going sideways, uptrend, strong uptrend, consolidating. It looks a lot like the S&P 500. It looks a lot like the S&P 500 to me, right? And I see this line of support I have drawn in over here. We're coming in to test it now. On a breakdown of that, is that a place to attack? No, that's not a place to attack. Is there any trend lines that could help me? Just kind of seeing what's going on, exploring. That trend line looks pretty solid. You see that? Talked about, it looks similar to the S&P 500. Well, actually, that's the same thing we got going on in the S&P 500, right? So anyway, let me come back to this. That's a good trend line over here. That's an important trend line. Resistance, flip to support, support. Getting below that would say to me, something's going on here with the Japanese yen. But right now, looks really bullish. The bullish structure is in place. It's consolidating right below the 12-month highs, looking good over there. So let me check out the sister pair, the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen, just to see what's going on. And, I definitely like the look better on the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. Seems a lot clearer to me. And the thing that caught my eye was this. Is there a trend line over here in this area? Let's just put it in. Let's just see. I don't see it. I don't see it. And it's not clear to me, right? Oh, there you go. That's pretty clear, right? Breakout, retest. Ugh. Resumed off over here. Never took out that last swing low. Came back up into this area, breaking down from it. It's weak, but listen, I like the Australian dollar, Japanese yen, the clarity on it a lot better. Let's just draw this in over here. Getting below this one over here, that might set off. That's when the Australian dollar, Japanese yen, by the way, will be breaking down, right? And the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen, and that would bring a little clarity that we could possibly potentially be seeing further weakness. Maybe all of a sudden the central banks, the Federal Reserve, is actually not only talking about tapering, but setting up the next move over there. And then that would be a reason why we would see risk off coming into the market. But right now it's all bullish. We're just coming back to test some supports. It's still all bullish, across the board. Equity markets, people always looking for that top. The markets are not crashing. Could this be the time they crash? Could be. It's not happening yet. We have our technical levels to watch, right? But right now, we're just coming into some areas of supports. What about the pound Japanese yen? Look at this. This line has not moved, by the way, in over 6 months, since it was a long time before then when it was drawn in. Let me show you down on the 3-day over here. This was the line over here. Could you see that? This is amazing, I think. This is a 14-year trend line, right? That price is testing now. And look how it tested, like with precision. Maybe there's something to these lines. Maybe after all, there's something to these lines over here, right? And you could see that. By the way, breaking out above here to the upside, This was, in January, the first week and 2 of January, talking about this being the take profit area. Hey, listen, it looks like the pound's going to appreciate. Watch it versus the Japanese yen until this area, full take profit area. Getting above it opens up a new entry on this. But right now we're being rejected at resistance, and we saw the US dollar Japanese yen into an area of resistance, right? Yeah, it could trade above it. If that happens, that opens up the upside. Right now though, I'm just noting that the Japanese yen is into resistance. You saw it over here on the US dollar Japanese yen, right? Coming towards that area of resistance. What about some other pairs? We looked at the Australian dollar Japanese yen, but I forgot what I was looking at, right? Looking super bullish, that's the first indication it's not. All right. Canadian dollar Japanese yen into resistance. So you see that the Japanese yen, which has been we've seen two things that are apparent. The pound has been, that continued nice appreciation, made sense. What we saw what happened fundamentally. And then you see the Japanese yen in this environment has had that continued weakness, but I see the yen across all pairs coming into an area of resistance. It doesn't mean that resistance can't break and we could go to new legs up, but this is an area, a take profit area, right? Getting above it confirms the place to position in further. So that's it. Like the US dollar is potentially setting up places for new entries, but you're not going to short the Japanese yen into these resistances. All Japanese yen pairs, are everything versus the Japanese yen is in very strong uptrends. You're not looking to pick a top and sell a top at all. I could show you on the Japanese yen, Australian dollar, the first indication you would be looking to sell might be on the break of that trend line. Is that picking a top? From a swing trader's perspective on the 8-hour, could you line it up? Could you see it? You could see the technical break of an area that would be important. Now, someone in this trade could use that also as an exit. You could be taking profit into the resistance on the upside, or if you've been holding and pushing a trade on a trend line break, that could be a place to take profit. We looked at that yesterday on the euro British pound. That was a good example. Back to the Canadian dollar, it's just into resistance. Notice though, in the past, what happened after that big trend line breakout, retest, resumption off of it, right? Nothing much to add. What about the euro Japanese yen? I want to come back to a higher time frame to see what's going on in this area. And all as I could see, there you go. All as I could see is a lot of supply over here, but nothing very clear. And the only thing clear for me is this trend line over there, right? Looks pretty solid. A strong uptrend continues. Yeah, I know from the other pairs, the Japanese yen is in an area of resistance against everything else. But, strong uptrend. This trend line break would be the first indication that we're seeing the momentum, this weak yen turning and flipping. 630 likes. I think we're light on the likes. There you go. Some thumbs down. Thank you for spreading the love. So glad that you're here. Thank you for that. Lots of love to you. So what else? There you go. I love you, brother. I love you so much. You're beautiful. You are beautiful. We're looking at the same thing. Bitcoin trading at 38,583. Ethereum continues to be stronger, outperforming Bitcoin, but not much is happening. Not much is happening at all. Come back to Ted's beautiful models over here. Ted putting together that CTM collective model over here, working at layering, whether you're looking at scaling the dip from the mid-cycle shakeout, right? From price making the all-time high, and then also from the halving, showing that right now we continue to be within range when scaled from the mid-cycle dip. Beautiful stuff that Ted and Ian continue to work together, putting out together. Ian really made this clear over here. Thank you, Ian, because this came up with the root, right? He's saying, listen, what we're doing over here, price is scaled using the first break of the previous cycle all-time high, and then it's aligned to the mid-cycle shakeout. Thank you, Ian. I picked up on that right away. Really glad for that clarification. I'm sure the root is also going to pick up on that. Thank you for that. Really grateful for it. You know, I see, Danny. This is coming from the work that I see going on in the Forex channel on the Discord, and it's just some beautiful stuff going on over there. And because I see the good work going on over there, I want to make sure to compliment it. It's also becoming, because this is a time right now. I'm trying to like, always gently guiding everyone. Right now, we have the clarity we need on Bitcoin, and it calls for, number one, in bold letters, a lot of patience. A lot of patience. We have, and from the day we dip down over here, the next day, if you look at the May 20th session, right? What do? I introduce the possibility of option B, and what option would be. If we take out that low at $30,000, all of a sudden we're watching and waiting to what happens over here. Have we just entered, as plan B become plan A, we've entered this accumulation phase. We'll be watching, we'll be able to position in ourselves a little bit better once we're able to recognize that we're into this phase. It's going to help us mentally a lot stronger, and we'll be able to accumulate in. And at the same thing, though, we know when this breakout occurs to the upside, we know when it's going to be. It's going to be the break of that trend line. And at that point, I'm going to be saying to everyone, okay, forget like positioning into Bitcoin. Now, if you're looking to trade Bitcoin, you got momentum with you. Now's the time to attack. Right now is not a time to attack. Things are uncertain. We're waiting for that clarity to continue, right? You have people who continue to FOMO to the downside. As price comes down over here, all of a sudden, we're going down to 25,000. We're going down to 19,000. And then the outliers, we're going down to 9,000. And then price comes up a little bit. And then people are like, we've rebounded and we're going higher. We don't know right now. And it's a really strong position not to know what's going on and just wait for that clarity. We have option A, the low is in, right? You saw the root also using different analysis, very close to what we're doing here in a very different way, from a completely different perspective, coming to the same conclusions as us, right? And we have, the model to follow, and we know when we're right or we're wrong, and we have these markers to continue leading us up from the mid-cycle dip into the cycle peak. That, because we want this is the part we want to set up and make sure that we nail, right? So, and then we have option B. If all of a sudden, okay, this was textbook Wyckoff distribution, and it led to the accumulation, and we'll know and we'll nail it, and that's what we're doing, right? But you get a lot of people over here, should I buy Bitcoin? And I'm just trying to bring that clarity. So it's a really good time for us to be focusing in on what's going on, brushing up our skills and our skill set. Again, if you learn to trade on FX, you'll be able to trade any market and with authority, right? And then even more so, look what happens. We've been sidelined, or I've been sidelined in FX for so long, with the exception of the Japanese yen pairs, everything, the US dollar pairs have been consolidating, and it's been tough. And a lot of people getting caught up in that consolidation. Maybe the luck is with us. It's all right. Maybe we get lucky, and as we start focusing a little bit more on FX, we start seeing the dollar break out. Or we were just aware at the right time, and as the dollar comes into these areas of support versus all different pairs, it just holds a support. Same thing with the equity markets. Maybe the support holds over here on the S&P 500, right? Very bullish, by the way, if we're not testing the lower support and this upper support holds and we resume off there to new high. Everyone all of a sudden thinks the markets are crashing. That's going to give a lot of fuel to the upside over here. I don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to be focused in on it, and we're going to be there. It does. Very good day for taking profits here, locking in profits, I should say, on specifically silver, right? And or also gold. As I'm looking at this trend line on gold, though, I have to focus in on what's down over here. We missed that. I missed that. Did you see that? When I have this trend line over here, I'm focused in on that area, and I missed that, and I got to add that in. All right. So again, silver for sure, very clear. Good day to take profits. Wait, get back above this area. It's a good time to get in again to the upside. Trade down lower. Good place to try to position in if it holds because the bullish structure is still in place. Gold looks a little different, and gold looks a little more bullish in the fact that if this area holds over here, wow, it's definitely holding up better than silver. Is it the time to try to get back in? Or no, it's still very unclear over here, especially if that dollar continues to break out over there and we see some further extension next week. It's going to put pressure on silver. Anyway, I think we got it well. We covered it really, really well, right? Let's go ahead. What is happening to the melt your face off pump? Yeah, so, let's talk about that because some people, they jump in from time to time and they're like, oh, Jordan, over here you said this is a V, right? This was going to be a V and it was going to be quick and sharp and leading into the melt your face off move, right? And that's true. I said that, right? But right over here, right? Right over here after Elon's tweet on May the 12th, on that very session, go back and watch it. I said I was wrong, right? I didn't wait until we dumped down to here and been like, I was wrong about that V shape. Right over here, I'm like, I was wrong. It's, that's not what happened, as quick as I can be, just wanting to be on the right side, right? So, if you're jumping in here a month later and you're like, oh, what happened to that? I already told you I was wrong, and that's okay. Not only did I say I was wrong, I said, you know what? I don't know what's going on. And because I don't know what's going on, I am neutral. I am on the sidelines. And then look what happened after that. Then came the big dump. I didn't know the dump was going to happen, but I knew I didn't know what was going on, So anyway, sometimes you wind up looking like a fool when you do that, don't you? Right? When you come out there and that's all you got and you come out swinging. What happened to that melt your face off? And you look like a fool, So careful, son. Careful. All right, let's go out with some honeymoon vocals and see if we're going to bring it back to anything else. Oh no. No. Did I just do that whole sound? Hold on a second. I'm gonna let that go then. Seeing I did that without sound, I'm gonna let that go. But people get very confused. They get very confused. Could you imagine? Do you know the Hebrews, by the way? Remember, Jesus was Jewish. Do you remember the Hebrews? They will not even write the name of God. They have such reverence for the Lord, the great I am, that they will not even write the name down. And you know, could you imagine talking about God and with a lowercase, right? People get confused when they talk about anger. People get confused that is anger a sin? Do we have occurrences in the gospel of Jesus being angry and showing anger? Is that a sin? Huh. People are very confused. People show a lack of respect and reverence towards the Lord and then think to call out others in the name of the Lord. Either which way, we live in an upside down world today. We truly do. We live in an upside down world today. You guys gotta hear the music with me. I'm sitting here jamming out. Oh, wait. Mike, I just want to clarify on that because Michael, you're really like you're contributing across the board everywhere, really valued. But listen, it was actually not, and I just want to make sure that everyone knows and everyone sees. It wasn't on the break of a trend line. It was for me personally. It was like we were coming up, and it still looked like potentially we could be making that V. And then Elon tweeted, and when Elon tweeted, it set off this bar over here, and then that set off like that led to the liquidations. There was some manipulation taking place by large wallets. The reason I say that is because you saw the record inflows into Binance. 24 hours later, record outflows into Binance. Whether or not they were targeting Justin Sun or something like that, I have no idea. But once price was not showing that V anymore, and Elon tweet, that's when it wasn't a V, right? We took out that last low, right? That's when it wasn't a V anymore. And it was then the next day on Friday, right, that I said, oh, wait, I don't know what's going on. And it was mostly for me because, you know, if you go back in the past cycles, it was a V recovery. It's no longer a V recovery when we took out that low. And that's when I said, wait, something's going on. Because we could have recovered from here. We could have recovered, and it still would have been a V. And it was just because what I was looking to play out at this almost to the day on the 2016 side was changing, and I didn't know what it was, right? And that's why I got aside. But, you know, so anyway, I just really wanted to clarify because it wasn't a trend line break in this case. It was more taking out the bottom of the V. I didn't understand it. Something was wrong, and I didn't know yet what it was. I didn't know what it was, and I'm perfectly okay with not knowing. Really, I'm perfectly being like just recognizing the fact that I don't know. That's important for me. That's a good one. All right. Hey, thanks, Wes. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thanks for each and every one of you. I really enjoyed this session, and I love putting it all together. I love that right here at an important juncture as we saw the DXY breaking out of that strong channel that it was in, that we're seeing then how that affects the rest of the markets. But noticing it's too soon to act. Greg was the first one who jumped all over that. You know, it's not the breakout. It's always the retest and the resumption. We need to see what happens. But I feel like whether I'm here tomorrow or not, everyone knows that tomorrow is not a tradable day, right? Everyone knows we got a high impact news event. Markets now paying attention to tomorrow, non-farm payrolls. We're seeing the dollar potentially break its current trend, right? It could lead to a bigger move, but it's not yet time to attack on that move. Different in crypto in the bull market. You see those corrections. You see the trend line on the break of that trend line. It's a great place to attack. Litecoin is a beautiful example. If you go back and you look at Litecoin and you see, and you watch all the times it was corrected, and then here's actually a retest and a resumption. But there are many in the boom, breakout, kind of a retest, resumption, but a lot of them don't have the retest. A lot of them are just strong breakouts. And that's what happens on crypto in the bull market, right? We just saw a big correction. Is now the time to look at alts, right? Definitely not versus Bitcoin, because the possibility is that at this particular point, after the peak of first alt season, you see Bitcoin actually make a run versus altcoins. And until we get into September, that could happen. Now we looked at altcoins versus the US dollar, right? And although in the past cycle they consolidated here for a little bit, alts continue that push up versus the dollar. Actually, if I'm not here tomorrow, and many of you saw it yesterday, Brandon's session over there, amazing, beautiful work. I know that it was captivating. We'll go ahead and we'll get that out to everyone, just so everyone can see what's going on and focus what they should be focused in right now with Bitcoin's momentum and how that works with allocating to alts at this particular time. So anyway, yeah, we got it. Thank you so much. We have a priest to do that. But I appreciate that very much. I appreciate all the love. Juan, just starting over here. I'm glad we caught you. That replay start. Love it. Giles. I got it. Giles. Lots of love, brother. Thank you very much, Shane and Matt and each and every one of you. Again, and I hope I remember, that's why I'm saying it again right now. if we find out we're staying at the hospital today, I'll do my best to update you all tomorrow. Someone ping me on Discord if you haven't heard, and that way, no one's expecting me to be here if I'm not. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow, and we'll pick off right where we left off today on this session, focused in on exactly the things we were putting together, and we'll just keep going from there into the weekend. So, 754 likes. That's okay. You know what? It's actually the least amount of likes that we've had in a long time. And maybe because it wasn't solely Bitcoin focused, but for me, it was such a good session. And that's what's important. For me, it was such a good session. I'm taking a lot of value out of it. So therefore, I feel like the other reviews out there, the others of yous, look at my span, 754 of you also enjoyed it. Those are the ones that signal for me. That's important for me. So anyway, have a beautiful day, everyone. Thank you for spreading your love and your kindness. Thank you for all of your support. Thank you for for being you, CTM, for being you. All right. I'm still playing some music. So I just love the honeymoon, So I'm gonna go one more time over here. If you're peacing out now, lots of love, and I'll talk to you soon. So this is a good one. Let me just stop. This is a good one over here. So does the number of likes have something to do with the profit you make from YouTube? Because I'm here hitting it every time. You deserve it. And they're making it like an extraordinarily small amount of money from YouTube, right? But the thing is truly when you hit the like button, it helps the Google algorithm say like, hey, people like what's going on over here, and it just puts it in front of someone else. And every once in a while, that someone else becomes someone who is like fits into this community and makes this community so special. So really, when you're hitting the like button, what you're doing is really nurturing and building the community. I mean, also when I see them flying, boom, 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 then I know that it just gets me in the flow. It really helps me go in the flow. I used to get really distracted when people would hit the dislike button, but I don't even care anymore. It doesn't even do anything for me. It used to I'd be putting out some really some invaluable information you don't find anywhere else across the markets, and people hit the dislike button, and I would be like personally offended. Now I could care less. It doesn't even mean anything to me. I just realized either this person is hitting the dislike because they don't want the algorithm to show this video anymore, they're not interested, or this person is so tainted and broken inside that when they see light, it's offensive to them. So they hit the dislike button. So I always say a prayer for them. I feel bad for them. I genuinely feel bad for them. And that's the truth. But yeah, so anyway, I feel bad for you, brother. I really do. But it's okay because life is beautiful. Life is beautiful and it's going to turn around for you. And you're going to see the light. The light is bright, and it's going to change your life. And then when it changes your life, you're going to change other people's life. So it's okay. I've been there. I've been through the darkest times. So I could say better than anyone. So it really helps when you smash the like button because again, the only way that David found this community was from someone else hitting the like button, right? J20 Trading Company, same thing, So anyway, lots of love to all of you. Thank you to all the moderators who are just the best ever. Thank you so much for going out of your way to help nurture this community and to help make it what it is. And, that's it. James, big shout out to the replay crew. You guys are holding it down. I have the best time interacting with you all in the comments that you all leave. And that's it. Maybe the baby's going to be born today. Maybe that's why I'm taking this extra, precious time to be with you all because I truly value it and I truly appreciate it. And we'll see. I don't know. Don't try to predict that, but we'll find out soon. Lots of love to you all. May God bless you all. I'll talk to you soon. Bang Wang, Bang Chong, Bang Chong. You're downvoting you because you've been wrong. Oh yeah? Bang Chong. This is the markets, man. Man, Bang, you could be wrong 50% of the time and still make a killing. Now, I happen to be wrong. I happen to be correct more than 50% of the time, and my risk management happens to be on fire, right? But if you were wrong 50% of the time, Bang Wang, and you knew what you were doing, you'd be crushing it if you could be that good. But Ban Wan, please tell me when and where I was wrong, because that's what I would like to across all markets. And I have a record of it. I have a record against those who consider themselves to be macro professionals, absolutely destroying and crushing them as it happened in real time across all markets. Bang Chong, tell me where I've been wrong. I would like to know where you see that I've been wrong. I would love to see it. Jordan, you were wrong over here. I'll point it out for you, Bang Chong. You said over here, Jordan, watch out for Jordan, you were telling me first over here for about 2 weeks, you were telling me to watch out for a shakeout. You were saying watch out for a shakeout, right? And then, we actually had what looked like a shakeout and a V, and you said this is the bottom and the recovery is starting the parabolic move. And the V shape is going to be quick and it's going to be sharp, right? And that didn't happen, Jordan. We came back down over here. Wait, and then Jordan here, you said what? You said you're wrong. Oh, the one time that I could point out to you in a year and a half since you've been doing YouTube videos, you pointed out you were wrong actually as soon as possible. And you said, I was wrong about the V and it's not happening. And then Jordan, you did something crazy. The next day, you said, you know what? I don't know what's going on. You said, Jordan, that you have no idea what's going on, and because of that, you're getting neutral. Bang. I see exactly what you're talking about, Bang. Yeah, Bang. Yeah. So that's it. People are so shook by the free world that they're just looking to catch you out there. They're looking for that imperfection so they could shine the light on it and be like, look, you're wrong. And you're a loser. And that's what it is, Bang. So you could come here in each and every day, Bang, and you could smash that dislike button. I don't even care. But guess what? Where I'm going tomorrow, where I am today, where I was yesterday, and who I'm bringing with me, it's the path to success. It is success. Massive, abundant success. And those that are open, and those that want to learn, and those that want to work, they're going to be there with me doing epic and legendary things, life-changing things that are going to have effects not only on their lives and all those around them, but the generations to come. Thanks, Bang. May God bless you all. I'll talk to you all later. Have a beautiful day. Melo Shul, the friend of Bang. Bang, he's gonna give you picks just so he could sit back and earn money with no effort. No effort? That's probably the stupidest thing I've heard all day. No effort? Who puts in more effort? Who has put in over 20 years more effort? Right? No profits, son. I wish I knew the correct cultural accessible word for son. I'd be calling you right now. Son, no profits? Are you kidding me? I took half my net worth, including owned real estate, into Bitcoin, average cost just above $9,000. Bitcoin's at $38,000. The money that I've made trading during the bull market, and that didn't start to over here, just trading, eclipses that initial first investment anyway. You have no idea, and you never will. Good luck in life. You're never gonna make it. There you go. And that's that, That's that. All right. Let me finish up. And this is what I want to end in over here, Peter. Not the Jordan part, not the thumbs up, but I want to end over here on Peter and, your avatar over here, right? It's June, the month of the Sacred Heart, and just adoring my Lord over here. This is how I want to end it over here, just in case this is the last session before I see you all again, right? This is where I want my focus to be. This is where my life is. This is where my focus is. Always on the Lord. Everyone, may God love you. I love you. Have a beautiful day, and I'll talk to you soon.